Julen Lopetegui may well have won the El Sacchio against Wolves midweek, but nothing's changed. Literally not a thing has really changed, other than he just feels like he's just biding himself a little bit more time, because the club have given a sort of response to the situation at play. This is following the result, because yes, we beat Wolves, but it wasn't good. As I talked about in previous video, wasn't impressed at all with the performance. I thought we were lucky. I mean, I've said it. I thought we were really lucky in that game. We didn't play well. I mean, people will point to the fact that we had a couple of goals disallowed, but okay, it's fine. But I thought Wolves had a few chances as well. Considering the fact they're a really poor side, they still had their chances. I feel like had they been a better side in the Premier League, and there's quite a fair, to be honest, in this league, a lot of teams better than Wolves this season so far, we would have been beaten. I'm sure of that. And the fact that our goal, was it the Thomas Suchek header, wasn't really a corner, shouldn't have been given. They certainly should have had a penalty, I felt, especially the second one where Mavropanos steps on the foot. I felt we got away with it. And first of all, there's a few things I want to talk about in this video, but first of all, I want to talk about Lopetegui and the club situation. So the club put out a statement. Now, I'm sort of backtracking a little bit from a couple of days ago, so I appreciate most now would have read this, but it's just to confirm this has come from the top. So this is David Sullivan, as far as I'm concerned. So this has come from EXWHUEMPLOYEE, and the question that he put to him, he said, we've exclusively spoke to the club regarding the update on the future of the manager, and this is what we received back. For now, all in capital letters, we do not want to make a change, but we are not stupid, right? And we realise we have to improve. It was not a great performance, and long term, we have to do better. So that is not a vote of confidence, as far as I'm concerned. That isn't. You do not get that and think, oh, brilliant. You know what I mean? That's me safe. I'll be here in the new year. That's no good. I think it's quite well understood now within the club that he's losing support fast from senior people within the club. This whole unanimous thing, I didn't ever believe. The fact that they said they were all around the meeting table and all unanimously agreed that he needed more time, I don't buy that at all. And we're going to come and talk to that about in a minute. We're going to talk about Graham Potter, but I just want to talk about the situation. I'll tell you what, let's talk about Potter first. I think that'd be the best one to start on. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, do click subscribe. It's free to do so. It takes 2 seconds. It really helps us grow. And of course, hit that like button, because that then goes into other people's feeds that don't necessarily see the channel, and they then get to see it, and then they come and join. It really does help us build our audience. We want to keep building and growing, so we really do appreciate it. Graham Potter. So basically, even though Lopetegui was given a stay of execution when we expected him to be sacked. This was prior to the Wolves game. It was felt after the Leicester loss that he was going to go. I think it was widely expected. That many in the club felt the same, as far as we understand it, that the academy management were ready to step in to look after the first team. That's how close he was to the sack. There was a meeting called at the training ground. All these things had happened. And then it didn't materialise. Basically, as far as I understand it as well, that Lopetegui pleaded for his job as well and wanted more time. Now that he got the Wolves game and he won the Wolves game, and that's the fact of it. I don't, as I say, I don't like the performance. I don't think anyone walks away with that anymore, feeling, oh, that's brilliant, that's confident. I feel like I'm going to push on here. It was a poor performance against a poor side, and we just got away with it. 1 through VAR, and 2 for me for Jarrod Bowen. I thought he was outstanding once again. But he has really stepped up this season, Bowen. He looks better than he's ever done now at West Ham. He's looking the real deal. I've been so impressed with him this season. That was the difference, Bowen, and getting away with decisions as far as I'm concerned. So I don't feel that Lopetegui comes out of that really any credit. Which I know sounds harsh, but sorry, that's how I feel about it. Now, what did materialise, and this is what's come from EXWHUEMPLOYEE, is that talks with Graham Potter have continued since that win. And so much so now that Graham Potter has been in touch back with the football club and told them, because originally he was quite hesitant about a 6-month deal. He was a little bit reluctant to sign up to that and felt that he wanted a longer term deal. So it was a little bit, apparently, as far as we understand it, he has now come back to the football club and said, okay, I will take this job on a short-term deal. However, there needs to be caveats in the deal to say that if I reach certain targets, I'm going to be offered a longer-term contract come the summer. Now, this ticks a lot of boxes for West Ham because, of course, One, I mean, look at you've got to think about that. David Sullivan's mind here, but bear this in mind. No compensation required in terms of hiring Potter because he's out of work. He's got Premier League experience and he's open to a short-term contract to start off, basically like a trial period, a 6-month trial. You take the club on, see how we get on. This was very similar to how David Moyes took the job, if you remember. Very, very similar, and it worked really well, of course, then. So I feel like the club will, as far as we understand it, and this is how I understand it, speaking to X and him doing his updates, etc., that Graham Potter, bloody hell, Potter is basically on standby. He's waiting to come in and take the job. He wants the West Ham job, and basically it's just a case now of West Ham will sack Lopetegui. I'm sure of it. They're kind of waiting for the right time. I think it's ridiculous. I do think it's ridiculous. There is a reluctance now. David Sullivan obviously has said in that statement, we do not want to get rid of the manager. They don't want to get rid of the manager because they don't want to pay the compensation required to get rid of him. Now, I know people will say yes, but he's only got a shorter term deal. I think it's only 18 months left on his contract. And that's it. And he's on a lower wage. What's the big deal? I think the issue as well, you've got to consider is his staff. He's got quite a big, hefty staff number as well. So you can have to do the same for all of them. So I think that's where the hesitancy is. But that's, as far as we understand it, Potter is waiting on the job. There's another thing as well. Potter he's got heavy links with Birmingham City, where he was a player. He knows Karen Brady. Well, he knows her husband, Paul Pesky-Salado. He knows... there's a big connection there. Obviously knows, may well know Sullivan as well. Obviously Sullivan for his time at Birmingham. So there's a real connection there. And as far as we understand it as well, Karen Brady is a strong advocate for getting Potter in. She really wants him to get the job. Feels it'd be right for the football club. So I feel like, and bearing in mind, Brady is the right hand woman, whatever, for Sullivan. So I think that's where we're getting now this shift in stance. It wasn't, Sullivan was no way in my eyes was one, he wasn't keen for Lopetegui to go, and two, he certainly wasn't keen on Graham Potter. It feels like those two things are changing because, as I say, I'll read that statement again. For now, in capital letters, we do not want to make a change, but we are not stupid and we realise we have to improve. It was not a great performance, and long term we have to do better. That doesn't sound as support, does it? I mean, if you're getting that as your performance review from your boss, you're not walking out of that going, lovely, jubbly, where's my pay rise? You know what I mean? You're thinking, I'll probably just maybe look for another job because I don't think I'm going to be around for too long. So I feel like that is the situation, as we say. Potter's on standby. Talking about other managers, though, because we are obviously linked with others. Allegri is one. As far as we understand it, he's not keen on the short-term deal. We only want to come in the summer if it was available. As I say, if Potter comes in, which is the most likelihood, and of course does well, then it's likely we're going to keep Potter anyway in the long term. And to be honest with you, like I've said, I've kind of warmed to put more to Potter now. I feel like actually, the more I've thought about it and given it more consideration, I feel like it seems like a sensible move for the club. I actually thought he did really well at Brighton. I liked his football, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't fill me with loads of excitement, but I just feel like what we've got at the moment and the option there for having him, I feel like it's sort of chalk and cheese. I would much rather have him in charge. So I've certainly been warming to it. Eden Terzic, as I've talked about in the channel before, I thought that he was going to be considered really the favourite, to be honest, to come in. But as we understand it, he's not also keen on the short-term deal. Would rather wait to the summer. There's also concerns whether possibly he's a bit reluctant to work under the management, bearing in mind he was there when Bilic got sacked. So he's probably going to have a little bit of a tainted view maybe of the football club. But he apparently is very popular as well. So I still think he'll be an option possibly in the future, but certainly not at this stage when we're talking in the coming weeks for a new head coach to come in. The other one was Michael Carrick. West Ham see him as a big risk, I believe, although there's been loose talks apparently with his representatives. He's on a big deal, a big contract at Birmingham, at Middlesbrough, sorry. He would then require not only a compensation package to get him out of that, he's then going to want to require a big contract at West Ham. He's not going to come and take a 6-month deal. So I don't see anything happening with Michael Carrick, which is sad because considering the fact he's an academy lad, obviously doing very well, I feel like it would be a popular choice with fans. So yeah, I don't think that one's going to happen. And the other one's David Moyes. Of course it's David Moyes. Bring back Moyesy. Why would that story not rear its head? Look, it was obvious we were going to be linked with David Moyes, and that was sort of natural. As far as we understand it, there's nothing in it. The club totally dismiss that and say no, they're not exploring that. It's not an option. Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past it. It wouldn't surprise me that if push comes to shove, West Ham would go and approach Moyes. It wouldn't surprise me, but at this stage, I don't think it's worth even talking about. So that's where we are with that. I mean, it's a difficult situation, isn't it, in terms of Lopetegui? I thought the club are handling it terribly. Before I go into that, though, I want to talk about our sponsor for this video, which is Firebook, our clothing brand that I love. Now, listen, when I was younger, back in my younger days, I used to kind of, I don't know about yourselves, when I was younger, I wanted to look a bit cool. I'd wear some right old shite. Right? Do you know what I mean? I used to try and look really cool, and I didn't care how uncomfortable it was. I bought Cuban heels, right? I actually wore these Cuban heel boots. They were pretty cool, got it. But I mean, I might be said dead in them now. But at the time, I was looking pretty cool. I'm a bit of a short ass. So it gave me, a couple of inches. I felt pretty good walking around those nightclubs, giving it plenty in Camden and all that. But what my point is, I used to try and look good, but I didn't care how uncomfortable it was. Do you know what I mean? I didn't care about the boots were hurting. I didn't care about how tight the jacket was or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I used to wear uncomfortable, skinniest jeans you've ever seen, like sprayed on, really uncomfortable. Didn't care because I wanted to look cool. I've got to that age now where I want to dress for comfort more than anything as well. I want to actually be quite comfortable, keep warm, but I want to look smart. Now, Firebox for me, that is the one that ticks all the boxes. It's slick clothing. So I've got a couple of bits here. This jumper, although you can't really tell from here, it's I know it looks quite plain, but this is honestly one of the most comfortable, lovely. It fits beautifully. It's basically a sweatshirt, but it's beautiful. It's brown. I've got it in brown. It comes in 4 different colours of blue as well. Go onto the website. It's fantastic. Firebox. I've got the link in the description below, and you get a 20% discount. I've also got this bad boy, and I've worn this in a couple of videos as well. This green and brown sort of look like sort of half zip jacket. Again, fits like a glove. It's beautiful, lovely quality. And so this is like one of those things that, well, you can go around Camden looking pretty cool, but feeling pretty comfortable. That's where I'm at in my life now. I want to look good, but I want a bit of comfort. I don't want to be walking around uncomfortable, but hoping that I look all right. Do you know what I mean? That's where I'm at in my life. So Firebox is the brand. I'll tell you what, you can't go wrong. Fantastic clothing, really reasonable prices. They've got deals on continuously as I get a 20% discount. Now, if you use the link in the description below, basically they give us a pat on the head for that. So we really appreciate it. If you're going to go and have a check it out, just go and have a little look anyway. Have a little browse, see what you think. But I can tell you now, the equipment and the stuff there is stunning. It's beautiful, really lovely clothing. Can't recommend it high enough. That's Firebox. So yeah, go and check it out. Link in the description below, 20% discount with the code West Ham Way. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. This I don't like the way the club are handling it with Lopetegui. I feel like they are dragging this on for the purpose of saving some money. That's what I feel like. I feel like they're neglecting West Ham by doing what they're doing. There's nothing to suggest that Lopetegui is going to turn the situation around, regardless of the result against Wolves. As I say, I didn't walk away from that game feeling any more confident. If West Ham had played brilliantly, played really well, or even saying the same, played brilliantly, just played well, you might go, okay, there's something to build on there. And then if you went to Bournemouth, got something, played well, or even if you didn't get a point, maybe if you lost the game but played well, again, there's something to build on. But I'm not seeing anything like that at all. I'm really not. And as I've said before, it's the bigger picture, isn't it? It's the bigger picture. It's the relationships with the players, the clear, huge fallings out he's had with Todibo, for Kudus, Fulkrug. Apparently, there's talk that he had another fallout with Fulkrug after the bloody Wolves game. We'll talk about that in another video. I'm not joking. Another big fallout with Fulkrug. You know, what's this about? You know, this is not good. So it's not just about results. That's what annoys me with the club, why they're always going from game by game. Well, think about the bigger picture. It's inevitable he's going to be sacked. As far as I'm concerned, he will not be our manager for much longer. Graham Potter is likely to be the case. Now, Wolves, of course, are now... I think they're going to give Gary O'Neill a bit longer. This is where my worry is, that we don't deal with the situation, and the Wolves then get rid of Gary O'Neill and they go, I'll tell you, we'll have Potter, we'll give him a 2-year deal, and then we've lost out on the deal. I don't know if that's going to happen. I know that they've been rumoured that they're interested, but I think there's also talk they're actually interested in Jose Mourinho, okay, which is quite interesting. But that's where we are at the moment with that. I'm just flabbergasted really with this football club, how bad we are at decision making. I just think it's just shocking, and we're dragging this on and on and on and on. It's really painful. But we are where we are. And I feel like it's just a matter of time now before they pull the trigger on Lopetegui. It's been a dreadful appointment. It really has for all parties. It's been a really bad appointment. And as I say, as far as I understand it, is that Potter is basically on standby, waiting to come in, take the job, which I think he will get. Well, he's got the Bournemouth game. It depends on that. If we get hammered in that game, and he could go, but it's likely he's probably going to get the next 2. I think that's going to be the way it goes, which I think is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I do not agree with any of this. I think it's pathetic. I'd rather just pull the trigger and get on with it. But that's where we are. So yeah. Of all those managers at the moment, everyone will be linked with Graham Potter on standby and will be coming in once they finally pull the trigger on Lopetegui. Come on, you irons.